What's up guys, today we will be talking about 5 reasons why you should buy the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra for 2023. Guys, this is one of my favorite phones to recommend to people. It's aging like fine wine. And yeah, if I sound funny, I am getting over a cold, so just bear with me here. Price came down a little bit as well too. As you can see, not too long ago it was trending for around that $550 sort of price point. And when I bought it, it was like 600. But now it's come down to 425. As we get closer to the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, this phone will easily come down to the $300 price range. Extremely easy. All right, so this phone, one of the reasons why I really like this phone is because of this massive display. So believe it or not, this actually still has a bigger display than the Galaxy S22 Ultra, the newest one currently right now. So you have a 6.9-inch display, and the S22 Ultra has a 6.8-inch display. So this is a very big phone. So if you're somebody that likes really big phones, this is as big as one of the biggest it gets from Samsung. And it's just really beautiful. Still looks great till this day. It is a 1440p display, and it is a very high PPI of 496. So it just looks crystal clear, super sharp, very bright and vibrant display. It is a 120 Hz dynamic AMOLED display. Now the big thing about this phone when it came out was that it couldn't do 120 Hz at the full 1440p. So that's still the case, till this day. You still cannot do it. Now, I'm sure there's like some hacks and stuff, but as far as just the stock software, you can only do 120 Hertz with the full HD, right? So you can bump it up to Quad HD or 1440p, but you're gonna have to be at 60 Hertz. But the display still looks really good. It is a very boxy display as well too, and it does have an aggressive curve. And yeah, I still really love the display. There's really nothing to complain about, honestly. I guess you could only complain about the not being able to do 120 Hertz and the 1440p, but it still looks good. It still looks really good at full HD. Honestly, the icons and everything still look great. Now the question is, well, can you tell the difference? Is there a significant difference? I can't tell a significant difference, but yeah, you can tell a slight difference, right? If I push it to 1440p, there's a slight little difference there. It does look a little bit clearer. So, that's one thing that you have to deal with. I just leave it at 120 Hertz because it just looks better, feels better to me. So that's what I would do. All right, so next I want to talk about the performance on this guy. So you do have the Snapdragon 865 chip on here, micro SD card support, 128 gigs of internal storage, and 12 gigs of RAM on here. So basically guys, this phone is a beast when it comes to performance here. As we can see on the Geekbench, we're getting 961 single core, 2974 for the multi-core, and it just does a phenomenal job when it comes to performance. I dropped a full gaming test if you guys want to check that out. But basically, PUBG, I was able to run HDR Extreme. That ran really well. Call of Duty Mobile, Fortnite. Genshin plays really well on here as well too. It just pretty much will play anything. And not only this, but the Snapdragon 855 and the 865 series chips, I think those are some of the best chips because they don't really get as hot as these newer 8th gen chips. So performance on here is actually still pretty great. So you can play games, not have to spend $1,000 to be able to play the latest games, right? So that's what I always preach. And also, like I said, guys, I would get this over any mid-range phone because we just saw the price, $425. For that, most people would go for like a nothing phone or a Pixel 6a or an A53, but those phones are not going to do anywhere near as good as this phone when it comes to performance. So this is why I always preach to get an older flagship, especially if you're somebody that plays a lot of games or just somebody in general. I still think this A65 chip a few years from now is still going to be pretty efficient at playing games, and not only playing games, just casual use. It's not going to be lagging and glitching all over the place. So I really like that, and I like to recommend it to people. So basically, I want to talk about the Android 13 update. So this is what you need to know about the Android 13 update. It's running pretty well for me. So a few people had issues with it, but I did not. So let me know how you guys feel about the Android 13 update. It's pretty fast, and like I said, I don't have any issues with it. I don't have any battery life issues with it. Performance wise, it's pretty normal, right, to the Android 12 update. So again, no issues with this update. So basically, this is how it's going to go. This phone is currently in its security patch stages. So it'll get security patches for, I believe, the next 3 years. So Samsung will update it for the next 3 years. But it won't get any major OS updates, guys. So Android 14 it won't get, but it'll get the security update. So I know that's a bit confusing, but just know that your phone will be secure for the next few years. Alright, next let's talk about the camera experience on the Note 20 Ultra. I think the camera experience is still pretty great. The reason why I say that is because it still has somewhat modern camera setup to what we get now. It still has kind of these big numbers being thrown at you. So you have 108 megapixel standard on here, 12 megapixel periscope telephoto. It does 5x optical zoom. You have a 50 times hybrid zoom on here as well too. And then you also have a 12 megapixel ultra wide. This still shoots in 8K 24 as well. Then you have a 10 megapixel selfie cam that shoots in 4K 60. So you have very good modern numbers, you know, compared to, you know, the S21 and S22 Ultra. So basically, images on here still look really great. As far as like point and click, the zoom quality on this phone still is pretty good just for getting a zoom shot. I would say the 10 and 20 times is pretty good. The 50 times is, you know, just okay. But basically, you will be able to get some really good shots out of the Note 20 Ultra for sure, very easily. It still does pretty decent in low light as well too, but if we're in just regular lighting, man, this phone takes some crispy photos, great dynamic range, great also color on here, just really popping color on this guy as well too. And yeah, I absolutely love the cameras on here. I have zero complaints with the cameras on here. It takes some really great shots. Really good portrait shots. The selfie cam is pretty good on here. You get a nice depth of field. I don't think anybody would complain about the camera on this phone, honestly, especially for the price that you would get this at. I think it's a pretty impressive camera still. So, you know, let me know from the shots. What do you guys think? I think this camera looks fine, honestly. I think anybody would be happy with it. So one of the best things about having an older flagship is actually the features, right? So you get basically, you know, flagship features. So the S Pen on here is still top quality. It still feels really great. Even compared to the newest one, it still feels extremely instant. And yeah, you could do digital artwork with this. Samsung has a ton of stuff that you can get away with the software. So you can just sort of play with it. I made a whole video about that if you guys want to check it out. But the S Pen is awesome. It feels great. And yeah, I absolutely love it. So that's an awesome perk to having an older flagship. And not only that, but just the features, right? So we have the Samsung desktop support in here. We have the wireless power sharing, so we can charge up another device if we desire to on the back of this thing. And then we also have, you know, everything else that you would expect: Dolby Atmos, secured folders, all that good stuff. Basically, you get a flagship experience. So that's one thing that I really like about this phone. It has really fast charging at 45 watts as well too. And not only that, but you have some pretty impressive stereo speakers on here as well too. So you guys can hear a pretty good bass. I actually think the speakers on here are better than the S22 Ultra. So these are some really good speakers. So yeah, guys, the flagship experience is still here. You get a really nice design. It is IP68 dust and water resistant as well too. Let me know about the design. Some people, you know, don't like this design. Some people, you know, really like it. I really like this design. I like the color of this phone as well too. It might be the color that you get But this one is just awesome. I really like it. It has like a very classy look to it. It is very boxy. That's the only thing about these Note phones. Super, super boxy. Kind of cuts into the hand a bit. If you put a case on it, it's not really a big deal. But yeah, so these are some very boxy, wide phones. So that's pretty much it, guys, man. This is a solid phone. I mean, the fingerprint scanner is really fast on here, really instant. You can take advantage of face unlock. The battery life on here, so let's go ahead and touch on that last. The battery life is just okay on this phone. It's never been a bad phone for battery life, but it's also never been like a top tier battery phone, even when it was new, when it came out. So basically, you have a 4,500 milliamp hour battery, 25 watt wired charging. Oh yeah, I forgot. It's not 45 watts, it's 25 watts. I was thinking of the Note 10 Plus. So excuse me for that. But yeah, 25 watt charging, which actually is, you know, it's not as good as the Note 10 Plus. That's actually one of my complaints with this phone. It doesn't charge as fast. It charges decently fast, I guess. But you have wireless and reverse wireless charging on here. So battery life can get you around 6 hours of screen on time, but that's about it. It's not going to get you like any crazy, you know, battery life. It does do all day. 6 hours is technically all day. But like I said, you're going to have to charge it by the end of the day. And if you do anything intensive on it, you're definitely going to have to charge it before the end of the day. So that's pretty much it, guys. Be sure to let me know, what do you guys think of the Note 20 Ultra? Would you buy this older flagship in 2023? Be sure to let me know, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.